The world was changing. Factories were growing. Companies were rising. The stock market kept rising. People believed one thing: this rise will never end. Everyone wanted to win. The rich, workers, young people, old people. Many people borrowed money. They bought stocks with credit because the system felt safe. Newspapers were selling hope. Banks were handing out loans. The market was pulling people in. Winners were everywhere. Losers were invisible. Then the cracks began. Prices slowed down. Fear spread. People started selling. Millions disappeared in a single day. Phones never stopped ringing. The crowds grew larger. Panic began. People rushed to the banks. There wasn't enough money for everyone because most of the system wasn't real money. It was debt, trust, expectation. The market collapsed. 1929 started the panic. 1930 revealed the true face of the system. Companies failed. Banks shut down. People lost their jobs. Some lost everything. The streets changed. Lives changed. The world changed. 1929 was not just a stock market crash. It was the end of an illusion. For the first time, people realized the system does not rise forever. Fear sometimes spreads faster than money, and a bubble bursts when the most people enter it. Today the world looks different, but people still make the same mistake: getting rich fast, not wanting to be late, following the crowd, because history changes. But human psychology changes very little. 1929 arrived. The market collapsed. Banks shut down. Millions lost their jobs. People lost everything. But the story did not end there. Because the crisis was not only destruction, it was a transfer of power. The weak were being erased. The powerful were growing. Small companies collapsed. Big corporations survived. Some bought the world at discount prices. Factories changed hands. Banks merged. Wealth was redistributed. While panic was growing, some were waiting silently because cash was power. Gold was power. Liquidity was power. People were selling in fear. Some were buying fear. The streets turned dark, but in some offices, opportunities were being discussed. As the crisis deepened, control moved into fewer hands, because crises do not reset the system. They redistribute the system. 1929 proved that. People thought the system was safe, but the system was built on trust. And when trust broke, everything changed. Some collapsed. Some became stronger. New giants emerged. A new order was built. Because major crises do not only change economies, they change power. Today the world looks different, but the system still works by the same rule. When fear spreads. Gold. It was once money itself. Governments could not print as much money as they wanted, because every piece of money had backing: gold. The system was limited. There were rules. Then the world changed. Wars began. Economies grew. More money was needed, but gold was not enough. 1929 arrived. The stock market crashed. Banks closed. People wanted to withdraw their money, but they couldn't. The system was under pressure. Governments realized something. Gold was slowing the system down. In 1944, the world gathered again. A new order was created. Bretton Woods, new center, America, new power, the dollar. The world was no longer tied directly to gold. It was tied to the dollar. The dollar could still be converted into gold, but the system had already started to change. Years passed. More wars, more debt, more money. America printed too many dollars, but the gold in the vaults did not grow at the same pace. Countries said, "We want to convert our dollars into gold." And then Richard Nixon stepped in front of the cameras. He stopped the dollar from being converted into gold. That day, an era ended. Money was no longer tied to gold. A new system began. Fiat money, meaning its value, did not come from physical gold, but from governments, central banks, and the trust of people. After this, printing money became easier. Debt grew, economies grew, inflation grew, the world changed. But at the center of the system, one thing still remained: trust. The world was at war. Economies had collapsed. Countries were exhausted. The old system was falling apart. A new center was needed. America was ready. 44 countries came together at Bretton Woods. But this was not an ordinary meeting. A new economic order was being written. A decision was made. The dollar was placed at the center. Because the greatest power was America, the largest gold reserve was in America. Countries tied their currencies to the dollar. The dollar was tied to gold. A new system began. From now on, global trade would run through the dollar. Oil, trade, imports, exports, all of them needed dollars. The dollar grew. America became stronger. Then new institutions were created. IMF, World Bank, for crises, for debt, for the new order. The system became global. Governments became connected. Central banks became connected. People became connected. Banks expanded. The debt system expanded. The global economy moved toward one center because money was no longer just money, it was power, and the center of the global economy had changed. Bretton Woods was not just an agreement, it was the foundation of the modern financial system, and the world entered a new era. After the Bretton Woods Conference, a new era began. The dollar became the center. The world connected to the new system. Gold meant trust. The dollar was tied to gold. 1 ounce of gold, $35. The rules were clear. The system looked strong. Trade expanded. Banks grew larger. Corporations expanded. America became stronger. The dollar spread across the world. Everything looked under control. But the system started to change. The US spent more. Wars expanded. Debt climbed higher. Markets expanded. And dollars multiplied. Too many dollars, more than the backing. The problem was growing silently. Paper was increasing. Gold stayed the same. The balance was breaking. Some countries noticed it. They started questioning the system. Is there really enough gold? The questions grew louder. Trust started to fade. France especially applied pressure. They demanded their gold. Vaults were opened. Gold started leaving. Reserves were melting away. The system was cracking. Panic was growing. Then came 1971. Richard Nixon stepped in front of the cameras. and announced a historic decision. The dollar would no longer be converted into gold. The door was closed. The system changed in one night. This event became known as Nixon Shock. That night, more than the dollar changed. The meaning of money changed. The rules changed. Control changed. A new era began. The fiat money era began. The modern financial system was born.